Good evening, parents and staff. Thank you for joining me for this online meeting. This is, of course, just for tonight, the foundation phase parents. Last night we had the ECD and PR parents online meeting. Tomorrow night, senior primary, and then Thursday night is high school. May I just ask that if you have kids in senior primary or high school, that you please listen to that presentation as well, because although 80% of the presentation might be the same, there are information per section that's going to differ, and then you also just might lose out on that. And then also a reminder that this presentations they do get recorded and they get uploaded onto our school's website under the COVID-19 tab. So if you click on the COVID-19 tab, you will then see all the newsletters that we've been sending out since the start of COVID-19. They all are at the top, and the videos at the bottom, clearly marked with a date and what meeting it refers to. So that's just a reminder. So if one of your friends tonight are missing out and they say to tomorrow or the day after tomorrow they missed out, how can they catch up? Remind them that all our videos are on our website, and normally it gets loaded 24 hours after the presentation. So tonight's presentation should be on latest Thursday morning. Let's please close our eyes and pray. Heavenly Father, I thank you that all good gifts come from you. I thank you that we can trust you with the future of our school family. Lord God, we praise you that you are fully in control of all things. I pray that you would please protect us, keep us healthy, and help us to thrive. I thank you that you know every hair on our heads. Please watch over all of us in every area of our lives and keep us safe. Amen. There's Mr. Reduced cell phone numbers right at the end. I will answer your questions. Please note that any questions that are already covered in the presentation, I'll just not answer them at the end. But you're more than welcome to start sending your questions. Just what I said last night as well, I think it's important that we just look at our school's mission again, because since the beginning of COVID-19, we've been focusing so much on the COVID-19 that we actually forget just to take one step back again and just realize what are we busy with as a bigger picture, and that we don't lose track of where we are actually going as a school, and that COVID-19 should not distract us from that goal. And then remember, the first one is to be a faith-based school, and that's we are a Christian school. We're living the Christian faith and the Christian values, and that's our aim: is that our values is visible at school, and that we live it by example. Also, that we aiming to be a school of distinctive excellence, so that every pupil can be the best that they can be. Not every pupil is a top sportsman or sportswoman. Not every person is a top cultural pupil. Also, not everybody is a top achiever. But our school aims to cater for every pupil, not just a top set. And our aim is to be that every pupil achieve their best. And if their best is 50%, then we cheer them just as hard, their results just as hard as we would cheer for somebody that got an 80%. Everybody at the school must feel that they are welcome, and that their strengths, and that we focus on their strengths, and that they can be the best that they can be. Also, that we grow well-rounded young pupils who are equipped to be socially responsible role models. And currently, social responsible role models just doesn't mean to give back to those that doesn't have the same privileges that we have, but also social responsible role model currently is somebody that also wear their mask outside the house when they're in public areas, somebody that will keep their physical distance because they're keeping themselves safe, and they're also keeping their friends safe. So currently, is that social responsible role model go much further than just giving back to those in need. And then also an ever-changing world, and how did our life turn upside down in February when COVID-19 came out in the world. And we also are now taking that opportunity to teach these kids how to survive and how to handle a difficult situation in the world. I see somebody is circling. Be careful that you don't touch your screens. You might just draw lines that I don't think you're intending to draw. Brian will see now on his side if you can also switch off that function. But thanks for highlighting wherever that was. Yes, we are a faith-based school of distinctive excellence. Just going to reshare my screen. Brian just changed a feature. Okay, somebody throw me out, you know, we all get it now. There we go. There, we're back. Yeah. We're back. All right, no issue. Brian is just sitting next to me saying he's sorry that he threw me out. I said, it's fine, no worries. We are back on track. So in any case, concentrating on an ever-changing world. And I need to remind you as parents as well, that you are also setting the example at home. This mission is not just school-based. This mission is also that you fulfill these values at home as well, so that we are in actual fact meeting each other halfway. The school is doing its bit, and you as parents must do your bit as well. And especially with this ever-changing component, that we are not fear-mongering and creating fear amongst our kids, but that we prepare them for an ever-changing world. And they are watching us every move. They're watching to see if we are prepared, and they're watching us to see how we are handling this situation. We set the example. Then also remind of the values, that our values are excellence, integrity, faith, belonging, and care. And again, that excellence links to be the best that you can be. Integrity, faith, integrity is honesty. Also with COVID-19, where we're asking you as parents to declare if you had contact with somebody that tested positive, if you have to be in isolation because somebody close to you tested positive, you need to declare those things. And then also then you keep your kids at home and you don't secretly send them to school. So integrity also got a whole new meaning during this COVID-19 as well. And then of course that we as a school will declare it if we have a positive COVID-19 case, and that we play open cards and that we are transparent as what we can be. Also, that I've said many times that we are a faith-based school, and that's our foundation, that we are a Christian school. And that we also currently in the world and in South Africa creates a sense of belonging and care for each other. I think in South Africa especially, where racism is rife, where we are not creating a sense of belonging for and care for everybody, that we as a school and you as parents help us to create an environment at our school and at home where it doesn't matter how you look like or where you come from or what your background, that everybody is welcome, and that we explain to our youngsters, because we have the future in our hands, that we care for everybody and that we create a sense of belonging and care for everybody, not just at the CBC, but in the world or in South Africa. What a better future we can create if we can get everybody to live and work together in harmony. And that belonging and care has also got a brand new meaning, because we always said at school, we need to make sure that we love each other, that we care for each other, and we create a sense of belonging. And we can't do that if we are creating division at home, but when the kids come to school, then we want them to be united. It's not going to work. We need to speak love, belonging, and care at home and live it for our kids to also live it at school. We can't enforce it at school if that's not happening at home. And I think that's one thing that really was highlighted during this time, is that there's a huge responsibility on us as school and on you as parents to ensure that these values are instilled in our pupils to create a better future for everybody. We are one school. And I think this slide really makes it very clear that we are one school. No section can operate separately from each other. And I've made it very clear to the staff last week as well when we started, and I had my staff days with them and staff meetings. You cannot see the school separately. Every section of the school is pivotal to ensure that the CBC machine is continue to work and that the gears are turning. And I think you can clearly see that where the primary school sits, they are a gear on its own. And if the primary school decide that they operate separately from a school, or the teachers are not playing ball, you can clearly see what's going to be the effect on the rest of the school. And you as parents and pupils play also the pivotal role. As I've just explained now in the last 5 minutes, what kind of role you can play at home to assist us. But also paying your school fees, and paying your school fees on time is ensuring that this machine still continue moving forward in a very difficult time. Also, that our pupils continue doing their bit. They continue doing their homework. They continue working online if they are doing our lessons online, or if they're at school, that they are here full-heartedly and they are doing what they need to do. All of this is extremely important to make sure that this machine continues to move forward, that this machine continues to work. And I think you can clearly see what forms the foundation of the CBC machine, and that is faith, the values that are already mentioned, as well the other 4 remaining values, our mission and vision. And when one look at this, you actually realize what a big operation it is, and that also we need everybody's input, we need everybody's involvement, we need everybody to ensure that this machine continue turning, especially in very difficult times. And it's heartwarming to still say that our machine is turning, the machine is working, the wheels are turning, the gears are working. And it's heartwarming to say to that. And I also had to really thank you, yes, parents, for your support, but also for the staff, for their hard work during this very uncertain time that we are in. And what a wonderful man to remind us that you can still make a difference. I also think he's so pivotal in this whole division that's being created in South Africa currently, that he's the prime example that if you set your mind to something, that it can have a positive effect. And I think he must look down on us and frown upon us in South Africa to see what is happening 26 years later with our divisions that's happening in South Africa. This is not what he envisaged for South Africa. And I really think we as South Africans must take one step back and just remember that what was the common goal for South Africa in 1994 going forward? What was his goal for South Africa going forward? And what a wonderful example for our kids as well in the sense of unity. And this is part of his birthday and celebrating his birthday. And I also don't think one just have to celebrate on the 18th. We can celebrate it for the month. Is that we are collecting items for Pupil Child and Youth Care Center in Kimberley from 20th to the 31st of July. They need groceries, toiletries, and cleaning materials. Thank you for the parents that already donated those items. I see that on Jomary's office. All items needed for a baking or craft activity, nappies size 2 to 5, or even just electricity. And I must also make it clear that if you only have 60 Rand for electricity, all the 60 Rands, all the 60 Rands that they collect or that you add to this meter makes a difference. So even if you just have 10 Rand, all you do is you load it into that meter number and you SMS that voucher number to that cell phone number, and they can load electricity on their items, on their meter. Items may be dropped off at reception, and so please, let's try to assist them. They are even groceries, even like bread and spread. And if you drop off bread today, we'll make sure that it still gets delivered to their property today as well. Then also, just a reminder that the stages for reopening after national lockdown, stage 1 and 2, 3 and 4 are all over at the school. Remember that the president has declared 5 phases in South Africa. We as a school then took it further, and we developed 8 stages that is linked to the 5 stages of lockdown in South Africa. And we are currently at stage 5 and 6, or we're at stage 5, we're currently now at stage 6. And just a reminder, what is stage 6? Stage 6 is that Patrick CBC will gradually allow the grades that are not back at school yet to return to school. Again, this will take place as and when approved by the Minister of Basic Education. And we all know that this was approved, and that's why we are back. Also a reminder that that online learning and face-to-face classes will continue at this stage, and that no sports or cultural events will take place at this stage as well. And we are waiting for South Africa to move down to level 2 and level 1. Then we will move to stage 7 and 8. So if we look at COVID-19, there's the virus that's causing so much nonsense in the world. If I get sick or if I can't be at school, you are in very good hands. Mr. Chroma, the head of the high school, he will be standing in for me. He will be the acting executive head if I can't fulfill my duties. Also, even if I'm allowed to work online from home, Mr. Chroma will still be the acting executive head, because he will be the person that's on property. If Mr. Chroma can't fulfill his duties as well, then Mr. Homan will be then acting executive head. Also, if he's out of action, then Mr. Virtue, is the head of the high school, will then stand in, and if something happens to him, then Mrs. Ward, Mrs. Michaela Ward, will then be the acting executive head. So you're in very good hands if I can't fulfill my duties. And that is just to explain to you that there are protocols in place, there are processes in place if, God forbid, I cannot fulfill my duties. Also, the question you need to ask yourself is, how are you doing and how's your family doing? How did this virus affect you? Did it affect you mentally, financially, or otherwise? And I put otherwise in there because there's so many, this list is endless. But you need to ask yourself, how did this affect you? And if it's really affected you, that's why we have a wonderful support team that can assist you. But I also want to reiterate that this is not a dire situation. We will all get through this. And even if your businesses are under strain and you might feel there's no way to come out of it, or you're too proud to talk about it, I want to remind you tonight again that there's always a way out. There's always a way out of a difficult situation. You just need to talk. So that is why we have a support team. They are not Dr. Swickers and the team. They're not just there for the pupils. They're there for you as well. Even if it's just a case where you say to them, is there anybody that they can refer you to if you don't feel comfortable speaking to a school team, then they will also assist you in that matter as well. But I want to remind you that this is not a time where you have to tell yourself, I can't get through this. We will all get through this. And that's why we have a dedicated team to support you and to help you during this as well. And then I also need to remind you as parents, and I did ask the staff that as well, that fear-mongering, please do not make yourself guilty of fear-mongering. We had now this situation last week where somebody has started spreading the rumor that we are the school, and it was a CBC parent, we are the school that's trading or running the longest, but we had no COVID cases up till this point. I think we really need to rather say, thankfully, we didn't have any cases up to this point. And also, I do think it's also because of the procedures that we have put in place. Also, thankfully, God's hands are keeping us on the school and keeping us safe. But this specific parent started spreading the rumor that we are hiding COVID-19 cases. And I must make it very clear that is, I see that in a very serious light. And parents, if you don't have anything else better to do than just pray for the school. And I said exactly the same to my staff as well. This is not the time to fearmonger. This is the time to support. This is the time where we don't start making up our own opinions and believe our own opinions as well. Kimberley, in any case, is too small to hide a fact like this. I saw it this morning as well, where a family has returned after their quarantine period, and somebody saw them yesterday and they asked me today, and I could say, cleared, went through the process, they are clean, they tested, they're negative, they're back at school. Kimberley is too small to hide a factor like this. But I also must make it very clear tonight that if we catch a parent or staff member making themselves guilty of this, we will go the legal route as well. There is no way that this is okay, that somebody can spread something like that, that is slamming towards me, who's the head of the school, and to the rest of my team. And I hope you hear tonight that I see this in a very, very serious light, and that we are here to support each other and pray for each other. It's the extremely difficult time to be a head of a school, and this is the time where I need to appeal to everybody and to support and to pray for my management team, for myself and my staff. And that it's demoralizing when somebody is starting to create rumors like that. That's, of course, the head of pupil support, Dr. Malene Swickers, and her wonderful team. And they are the group that if your child needs support during the day, they are there to support. Besides the teachers are always there to support. But these ladies are also there just to give that extra support, and also for you as families and as parents, they're there to help and to assist. Also, just a reminder that no school uniform are now allowed on school. This gives us the opportunity to just see if everybody's wearing new clothes on a daily basis. With school uniform, it's very difficult to see if a person has washed their clothes and are wearing a brand new uniform. So that's why even we as staff, we are wearing civvies. I've got 2 of these jackets. So the one is in the wash, the next day I'm wearing the other jacket. So the same rules apply to us as staff as well. We are also wearing civvies to ensure also that we can check that everybody is wearing clean clothes, fresh clothes every day. Also, a reminder that fabric face masks are compulsory for all persons on campus, and that we continue reminding the pupils, the staff, but you as parents as well, to maintain your physical distancing as well. And just a reminder that we don't talk about social distancing anymore. Social distancing means I don't want anything to do with you. Physical distance just means I still would like to have a cup of coffee with you, but you can't sit next to me. You just need to sit 1.5 meters or 2 meters away from me. Social distancing, psychologists are currently saying it means that I don't want to drink coffee with you at all. That's not the case. We want physical distance. Then also, from a hygienic point of view, of course, we are encouraging pupils to continue washing their hands with soap and water. And also a reminder that when you sing happy birthday while you're washing your hands, I said last night twice, but I'm in a correction. You only have to sing happy birthday once. But while you sang the song, and if you sang the song from beginning to end, while you wash your hands, you've washed your hands the right amount of time. Then, of course, also the staff are also reminded to continue washing their hands. And then, of course, hand sanitizer when we go into the building, in a class, out of class, we are also sanitizing our hands. And then we are prepared for not if, but when we have a COVID-19 case. And that leads me to the next slide. Procedure for when a pupil on campus tests positive for COVID-19 is exactly the same if a staff member tests positive on campus for a COVID-19 case. And that is immediately, we will then alert you as parents that we had a positive case. We will not divulge the names. We will then take guidance from the Department of Health, Department of Basic Education, and ISASA, which will then explain to us if we have to close that certain section or the whole campus. And of course, we will then have to do track and trace. We then have to identify who had contact with this person, regardless of the pupil or staff member, and then identify them, and then also just make clear that you had contact with a person that tested positive, and you all now see the new procedures. Even if you had contact with somebody that tested positive, that because the tests, there's not many tests left in South Africa or available, you then have to quarantine or isolate yourself. And if you show any symptoms, only then will a doctor send you for tests. Previously, if you had contact with somebody positive, even if you didn't show symptoms, you can go for a test. But you all saw the regulations change last week. They just want you to immediately isolate, check yourself if you have symptoms, and then if you show symptoms, a doctor can then send you for tests. So everybody, and it's the same for the pupil as well, but then as for now, like I said, then we need to identify which area. Is it then the whole campus or just is that section that must close down? And we will then make very clear to as parents that a person tested positive, this section of the school, we're either going to close the whole section or the school. And then, of course, they will now then to clean the campus, deep clean it, as also sanitize it, and then reopen again. But all of this, we will take guidance from the Department of Health, Department of Basic Education, and ISASA, which stands for the Independent Schools Association of South Africa. And as I made it very clear now, earlier, we are very blessed that we haven't had a positive case, the COVID-19 case up to this point. And we must just continue praying that this miss us. But if we do have a case, we are well prepared and we will run through the process. Also, just a reminder that the Department of Health now changed it from 14 days to 10 days quarantine. They realized 14 days is not necessarily 14 days. You only have to quarantine for 10 days. And as I said now, that is also when you can contact with somebody who's infected. And then also isolation. A lot of you are traveling to hotspot areas. Please declare it to us so that we can then have a conversation to hear where did you travel to, and then for how long. You also need to be in isolation in your kids as well before they can come back to school. But this all leads to integrity, and this all leads to you as parents that needs to be honest with us and tell us if things have changed in your lives so that we can then assist you and walk that path with you. From an academic point of view, I see somebody has now made a yellow line on this presentation. From an academics point of view, lessons and activities. Please ensure that your child completes the activities and lessons provided by the teachers. It is pointless if you complete the work on behalf of your children, as this is detrimental to your child's development. If your child is not back at school, please arrange to fetch their books as soon as possible. And it basically leads to the second point, and I'll explain this more. There's an assessment week from the 7th to the 18th of September. And this is not, although we will collect marks, there's an actual fact to assess the progress of your child. Please do not do this on your child's behalf because you're trying to get them into top 10, although in foundation phase we don't have top 10. But in any case, the school decided we are not going to allocate top 10 or even put ranking. Foundation phase, again, you don't have ranking, but going forward, we're not going to do ranking on the reports for the rest of the year because some parents feel obliged that they need to help the kids because the child must be in the top 10, or they might just now be moving in the top 10, or they might just be now number 1. You are hampering your child's progress, and you're hampering that feedback that we need to see if our system that we have is effective and how are the kids progressing. So there's no, that you can assist them, but you can't do the work for them. There's a huge difference. A detailed document will be sent to parents explaining the procedures and protocols for assessments. And parents will be asked to fetch the assessment booklets at school and return as indicated in the procedure document. Also, failure to do so will result in your child not being allowed to progress to the next grade at the end of the year. And I want to reiterate that. All kids have to do these assessments at the end in September. We will send you a document how to be done. And here's the good news. Nobody will be forced to do this on campus. We will send documentation home of how it will work. But if your child is being homeschooled, it will probably require you as parents to fetch assessments from school, or an assessment booklet that needs to be fetched for them to do it at home. And the only condition here is that the kids are not going to do this and they're not going to submit it. They will not be able to progress from their current grade to the next grade at the end of this year. So parents, please, your kids need to do this. Those who's at school, they will of course do it during that time, but especially if they're doing it online, They will have to do, if they're being schooled online currently, they need to fetch that assessment booklet. They need to complete this. It needs to be submitted back from that they can mark it, the parents, that the staff can mark it. And if there's no submission, it means that they cannot progress to the next grade. These assessments may be completed either at school or at home. Teachers will be marking these assessments. No new work will be taught during the assessment week. And also, as I now made it very clear, these assessments are there for the teachers to give them an idea of how the kids are progressing or how they progressed during this time. And it's a diagnostic tool for the staff. They want to see if their ways of teaching are effective. Also, how the kids are doing it online at home and the kids at school, if there's any difference. And also that they can then put measures in place going forward. And also that the staff that's taking, for example, if your child's in grade 1, they're going to roll over to grade 2 at the end of the year, that they then, the staff in grade 2 can look at these assessments next year and say, all right, this is what we gather, this is what this group still need attention with, etc. So it's a huge diagnostic tool. So may I please ask that you can assist them, just don't do it on behalf of them, especially the younger, the more help they probably need. But for example, they might struggle to read, but don't, if they say draw a circle, you'll say, they ask you to draw a circle, but don't go and draw the circle for them. You can just read the instruction for them and then they can do it. That's just a stupid example of how to assist, but not to do it for them. And then also, we will issue then a report, but that will only be issued in the beginning of the 4th term, because the kids will do their assessments from the 7th up to the 18th of September, and that's the day we close. And then also, we will continue online learning as an alternative until the end of the year. Just a reminder from marketing that we've realized that we'll have to also relook at the way we market the school. And there's going to be a massive emphasis on digital marketing. And we've decided on the following: not just on normal Facebook page, but we're also going to do adverts on external Facebook pages, so that, for example, you also realize that if you search chicken recipe today in Google, suddenly when you go into Facebook, it just gives suggestions of chicken recipes. Very similar to this. So we will then, our adverts will then come up in that sense. Also, so somebody that searched private school or just search schools, when they go into the Facebook, for example, suddenly St. Patrick CBC's ads will come up. The same for Instagram. We're going to do our search engine optimization, where if you search just school, our name will come up at the top. Also, our website is still there, and then also printed media. But I need to remind you that you are our best marketer. And you might be frustrated with me, but you still love the school. Now you go and tell everybody that you're frustrated with me, and because of that, you also then smear the school. That will have effect on the school. I'm using myself as an example. It's just easier to do that in a sense. Or you as a parent might have an issue with another parent, and suddenly all parents at CBC are bad. So when you talk to somebody, you just tell them it's the worst parents that are part of CBC. Those are just prime examples of how we can slam the school that we all love. Also, I've explained that COVID-19 issue, where somebody, for some reason, thought they're adding 1 and 1, but they actually got 5 instead of 2. And how that have a potential to smear our school. You are our best marketer. And I think you've realized by now that we are all trying our utter best, you, the staff, and the pupils, to continue building the school and growing the school going forward. And we need you also to be positive about the school as much as you can be. And when you have a frustration, you know that you can always raise it. And that's where you either raise it with the teacher, or you raise it with the grade head. If you have no joy with the teacher, from the grade head, it will go to Mr. Homan. And if there's still no joy, it will then come to us, or to me rather. So may I ask that you please be positive. and talk positively about the school. I think you've all realized by now, we have your best interest at heart. Please also have the school's best interest at heart. I see somebody's having nice art effect here on our presentation tonight. Just a reminder that social media are like sharks. And also, today you might be frustrated with the school. Tomorrow morning, and you posted something on social media, or you might be frustrated with somebody or whatever, but you slam the school. Tomorrow morning, you wake up and you feel better, but already so many people have seen it as well. Social media also is when people will take note of what you think of the school, but it might not how you feel the whole time. You might just feel temporary in that sense. Also need to remind parents here that talking to the media, please have the courtesy to inform us if you've spoken to the media. Even if you are friends with somebody in the media and they ask your opinion on how the online learning is working, if you've spoken to them, it is your right to speak to them, but at least just inform me that I don't see a clip on CBC and St. Patrick CBC's name is being mentioned, and that's the first time that I find out about it. The same courtesy that we will pay you as parents, if we use your kids in media, please also pay us that courtesy as well. At the end of the day, I'm sure we all are just trying to build our school. Also from projects, all new projects postponed to 2021, as I said earlier this year, due to this COVID-19 crisis. We don't know what's the effect on the school. But the outdoor swimming pool that we started before the crisis will be done by October. And the Keeley Park development is still continuing because we also started that before COVID-19, and that also needs to continue. Here's just a couple of photos of the Astro and the development as it happens. There you can also see more photos of the Astro. There's the netball courts that they are also currently being built, and you can also see they will have lights. The gully, the clubhouse, will also be developed. Then also just a reminder that due to the required daily screening process, no pupils are allowed to arrive at school after 7:45 because we want them to be in the classroom by 8 o'clock, please. Pupils may not wear the same clothing 2 days in a row, please. And then also the reminder that we are on our cash-free zone. G4S is not fetching money anymore. That's another way we're trying to keep your kids safe and the staff safe on campus. So please, if you want to come and pay your school fees, it must be by card. If you want to pay, sorry, you want to pay cash, you'll have to go into a bank and pay the account, the money into our school account. Then also the grade R first day photos will be available next week. We will notify on the parents groups. And then also to join your specific class WhatsApp group. If you're still not on the official class WhatsApp groups, those are the groups that were started at the beginning of the year, at the beginning of COVID-19, where we sent a lot of information through. If you are not if you think you're not in a group like that, even send Mr. Drew an email tonight to Jo Marie and just check, but you should be on there. Then also, please send extra water for your little ones when they have PE, and please do not send any sick children to school. We, in the morning as well, any staff member that arrives that might have a cough, we send them home as well. So please, and they, any case, get referred to Charlotte Moller, who's the school nurse, and you'll get a phone call to say, sorry, they've actually now been isolated, and you must please take them home. So people, please do not send any child that's sick to school. We are still deciding how we're going to handle the Stuck Fridays, and I sincerely hope that by Friday, Monday, I'll give you a final answer on that matter. Then also for the tuck shop, please remember that you need to order your, or place your order a day in advance. The tuck shop is not operating like before. You cannot just go in the tuck shop and order. The tuck shop is closed. They only now deliver to the classrooms. So they still prepare the food in the tuck shop kitchen, which is sanitized and cleaned, and it was inspected by the Department of Health. But no child can come and order in the tuck shop anymore. It gets, because we don't want them to queue and line up and etc. So what we do is we, the tuck shop delivers the kids' food to their respective classrooms before break. But I've explained that in before as well. And then also, we are keeping an eye on this possible closure of schools. We do know that the unions in South Africa are pushing for schools to close. There's, of course, also other bodies that's also against it. For now, schools are continuing as per normal. And also, if the schools close, we don't know if this will only be government schools or will it also have an effect on us. And of course, we'll try everything in our utmost best to keep our doors open. If, God forbid, we have to also close like government schools, then we'll continue with our online lessons. And that's why we also decided to rather do our assessments, not that the kids, that they don't have to on campus. We're going to do the assessments I explained in such a way that they can do it at home or they can do it if they're at school, and nobody will be penalized. So even if they say overnight to us, schools must close, we are prepared, and you as parents and kids will still continue. You will not lose out. But of course, we will then again take guidance from the Independent Schools Association of South Africa that will guide us on that matter if government schools are forced to close. But we all see the minister hasn't made a statement yet. It might change tonight, it might change tomorrow. But we are keeping an eye on it, and we will communicate to you as parents as soon as we have more information. Then I really need to thank you for entrusting us with your child, for paying your school fees on time, and for your continued support. I will now get to the point where I answer questions. No WhatsApp questions through yet, nothing on the chat group. While we're waiting, we will I'll ask Brian, our IT manager, to investigate how we can block the presentation, that nobody by accident draw a yellow and red line. I see there was a gray line, but that disappeared. Yeah, we will see how we make that also line proof going forward. So we learn. Every time there's something new, we're learning as we're continuing, and I think that's exciting of this process as well. I've actually realized as well how much I've learned doing things online during this process as well. Any questions? No WhatsApp questions, nothing in the chat room. Right? Nothing in the chat room. All right, then I'm going to continue. There's my, sorry, as I said it, there's kind of questions coming in. Yes. The question is, we've announced there's no curriculum changes, but now we don't have any homework. A reminder that there is no changes in our curriculum. We are just trying to assist you as parents to limit the homework as far as possible. Also, because the way we are doing online lessons, all face-to-face lessons as well, there are now more time for the kids. The lessons are now an hour long. There are now more time for the kids, for the teachers to explain, and for the kids to do their homework in class. So I do know they sometimes still have a little bit of homework, but so it's not a case of totally no homework, but it's definitely less than before as well. And we did it for two reasons. Number one, we don't want to burden the kids even more in the time that they are coping with online lessons or face-to-face. And on top of that, we also said we don't really want books to go home and come to school, go home and come to school every day, because we also know that this is a surface bug. And although we are sanitizing and trying to keep it clean as possible, it's possibility that there's something can link to that paper as well and then come to school. That's another reason. That's the biggest reason why we actually said no homework, or that we try and prevent books going backwards and forwards. But curriculum changes, nothing has changed, because we are so privileged to continue running during the lockdown level 5, when we had online lessons, and we continue with our curriculum, and we can still continue with the curriculum regardless if your child is doing it online or are in the classroom. And that's why we are on par with our curriculum, and will finish on time with our curriculum at the end of the year. And that, of course, is different between us and the government schools, because the government schools could not do something like that during lockdown. They have their own reasons why. And And that's why the government school kids are under pressure to catch up and to finish their curriculum by the end of the year. But we, thankfully, as independent schools, are not under pressure to complete our curriculum because, as I explained, we had online lessons during lockdown, and now we can still continue a face-to-face. Or for those of you who are lucky enough to have somebody to look after your little ones during the day at home, you don't have to send them to school, but they can still continue with their curriculum.
One of the teachers sent me a message that one of the parents asked, is there any way that the somebody can escort the grade R kids to class?
The question is, can we get somebody to escort the grade R pupils to class in the mornings? I'm just going to ask, I will move on to the next question. Maybe one of the teachers can just quickly send an answer to Jo Marie, and I'll answer that question a little bit later then. Then also, I see there's a question here. Are the children allowed to wear medical grade masks, such as the N95 or KN95, that reportedly offer high levels of protection? Also wish to thank you and your team for the measures you put in place to keep everyone safe. Unfortunately not. We are sticking to our CBC masks. We all heard the president also saying last week, Sunday night, that cloth masks are the compulsory mask. And also, if I'm going to start allowing that, then I must also open myself for all kinds of other requests coming through on masks as well. It is a 3-layer mask, and it gives the right protection. I understand where the question is coming from, but unfortunately, I hope you understand my answer on that one. And then also, could you put in writing the process of collection of textbooks and the assessment process? We'll gladly put that also out for you on paper tomorrow and send it as well. The assessment process, in any case, will go in a document. It will be a full document on the assessment process, how it's going to work, how you're going to collect it, etc. For the textbooks and books that your kids are being homeschooled and you can come and fetch it, we will make sure that we send that out to clarify tomorrow. Did anybody answer that grade R question, Jo Marie? Yeah, as far as I understand, the little ones, I understand the question, sorry. Yeah, when they go through second screening in the hall, and then they come out and then they go to the classroom. So I gather what's happening, they're moving on their own to the classrooms and you would like somebody to fetch them. It's something we can look into. If I get a different answer now, but I gather that because all the other grades, because they're far from the classroom, get fetched and go to the classrooms. The grade R below ones, they can go to their own classroom. I understand the question. I will speak to the grade R's, the teachers, and also Mr. Homan, and we will look into that and see if we can assist. So if I indicated that my child will only come back in August, but I want them back earlier, then all you do is you send us an email. You can even send Jo Marie a WhatsApp to say, I've indicated that my child are coming back on the 1st of August or the 3rd, that's the Monday, but I'd like them to start on Friday. Remember, you must just give us 48 hours notice. So today is Tuesday. So if you decided tonight that I actually want my child to start, if you send us a message now, we just need to make sure that we are prepared for your little one in the classroom, and that takes us 48 hours just to make sure that we again maintain our physical distance in the classroom like we should, and etc. And so if you inform us tonight, then basically by Friday they can start. If we are prepared before that, you will in any case get a message back to say it's fine. We said they can start on Friday, but we're now ready for you on Thursday. If it's the other way around, and we did pick that up after the president's speech, that some parents felt, whoa, he's created a bit of a picture that I don't know if I want to send my child back to school yet. Then they said also, I'm not going to send my child back now. I'm rather going to start later. And that's also fine. You can just inform us if you do the other way around as well. But I can say that we are operating on a 55% of our pupils back. Yesterday, 40 more kids joined us as well. That previously were homeschooled using our online learning, and they joined us yesterday as well. So, but we are currently only across the board, we're operating on 55%. And then also the biggest class currently, as far as I understand, is around about 12, 13 in a class. Don't quote me, I might be under correction there, but that's more or less the biggest class that we, they're not more than 14 or 15, the max. So we don't have currently classes running on 20, 21, 22, because we're running on a 55% capacity. 45% of parents said they're happy to continue homeschooling their kids. Just putting it out there if you're wondering how many kids are actually back on campus. The grade R's just answered. They will make sure that the assistants are coming down just to check if there's any grade R's that need assistance to get to classrooms. So the assistants will come out of the classrooms and fetch the grade R's and take them to their classrooms. So I hope that matter has also now been resolved. Thank you for that question. Anything else? Brian, anything on your side? Okay, it's quiet. I'm going to give it 10 more seconds. Just make sure I've answered all the questions in the chat room. It does look like it. All right, I'm going to move on. Also, a reminder, you're more than welcome to send us questions afterwards as well, and we will answer you. There's my contact details. Please, if you have COVID-19 related questions or anything operational, you're more than welcome to contact me directly. Although academics, also everything at school reports back to me, but if it's an academic question, it's just easier to contact the teacher first, because they are face-to-face. They can answer that question immediately. And as I made it very clear, if you have no joy there, which I would very much doubt, then you can ask the grade head to assist. And if you don't know who's the grade head, again, you're more than welcome to contact Joan Marie and we'll assist you, but it's also clearly stated on our website. Then also, if you have no joy there, then of course you escalate it to Peter Homan, and also Michaela Ward, who's the deputy of the primary school. Both of them, they will assist you, or one of them will assist you. And if you have no joy there, as I said, then it will come to me. So please don't send me academic matters first. It's just, in any case, you're going to bat it back to them to help me to answer before I, in any case, answer you. So please just follow that protocol. But otherwise, anything else from an operational matter, from COVID-19 procedures, financially, anything else that you need assistance with, you can of course contact me. Then also we are in this together and we'll get through this together. And I really would like to thank you for your continuous support, your continuous feedback, your constructive criticism that help us also to build the school and to take it to the next level. But thank you for being part of the special family. Thank you for helping us to make this such a special family. I think you also agree with me as parents that the staff has really gone beyond and above preparing these online lessons while we were in lockdown 5. And the way they're continuing being in this very difficult situation, still being positive and still being an example for you and for your kids in the classroom and for online learning. And I really would like to appeal to you to thank your teachers as well. They need it, especially in this very, very difficult time. But for you as parents, I also like to thank you for your support and for your sense of creating that sense of care and belonging, and that we continue doing that as CBC, and that we continue being the beacon of hope in Kimberley and be that ripple effect in the rest of Africa to show that if we all are united and we work together, just look what can happen. And I do believe that is part of the success currently at CBC. So I wish you all a good night. Thank you for joining me, and looking forward to speak to you again soon online. And as I said, quite a lot of communication will be sent out regarding assessments and etc. But otherwise, stay warm. Wish you all a wonderful night, and speak to you soon. Thank you.